playing Blue Bossa. It was written by Kenny Dorham, released in '63 by Joe Henderson originally. So we'll look at first the melody, and then we'll also go over the comp. This is a bossa nova groove, so that's going to be bossa nova, kind of bossa nova, jazz bossa nova, really adapted to jazz guitar. So for the comp, I'll give you two variations. One is simpler and one a little bit more advanced. So just so you know. So, but we'll start with the melody. The simple melody, it's not technically hard, but it's a little bit tricky, kind of to figure out exactly where to play it. To play it kind of in position, or like, or to kind of slide around a little bit diagonally. I've written it down for you on the tab, pretty much in position, and then that's a good starting point. And pretty much you can, of course, do that. It may not be the most intuitive way of playing it somehow, but yeah, it works. It works fine. So check out the tab, download link below, and goes like this. So few things to note. I'm starting this with a slide in to the first note. It just gives it a little bit more weight than doing this. Right? And also, often I would probably play this first note on this string, just because it sounds a little bit fatter, right, than this. Depends on the tone you have in the instrument at that particular time, of course. Can work fine here, but something to consider. So this is a sequence, right? You have this first melody bit, and then pretty much the same thing, just starting a note below. Also this one I like to slide into. Now I'm gonna give you a trick, because when you play, when you've gotten all the way down there and you're gonna play that, it's a little bit easy to forget what note that top note is going to be again. So just remember that you go up to the same note that you started on. So this first phrase starts on G, and then we go up to G. Next phrase starts on F, and go up to F. So just it's may sound simple, but it's a little bit it's easy to get this one to kind of trip a little bit over this one. Okay, now bar number 9. What's happening here is that the tune is modulating just for those four bars. The tune is in C minor, but for the next 4 bars it kind of modulates temporarily to D flat major. However, you can still stay kind of in this position, but I like to start, instead of if you were to have the strict third position, and start with the second finger. To me that really doesn't make sense, except from like a reading point of view. Reading is not easier if you stay strictly in position, but for the fingers to play this in position with the first, second, and then, I mean, it's not a problem, but this is not a strong fingering, right? 2, 4, 3, right? So it's much more strong fingering to go up and play this with the first, and then 3, 2, and then 1. Same here. You can do it with the fourth finger. I mean, it's not the problem, but it's a much more secure and strong fingering if you use the third here, right? And then, so that's bar 9, a third line of the melody. Okay, and then it ends like this. Now we're back to C minor. We have a 2, 5, 1, C minor. You have now the melody. Let's move on to the comp. So I've written out 2 variations. They're really the same, except the second one we add the root note, the bass note. The first one is just the chords without any root. So if you were to play with a full band, that's probably what you'd use anyway. And you can also use that when you and me are playing. When you're comping, it's fine to play. Rootless chords is fine, okay? So you can do that, but I've also included in the comp 2 PDF the root note. It's a bit of a trick to play those at the same time, as you'll see. But let's just start with the basic rhythm of comp number 1, and it's a rhythmic figure that goes over 2 bars. So it's like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's the rhythm, and a bit of a challenge with that. If you let's do it bar by bar. So bar number 1 and 2, that's C minor. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And the next one is F minor to B flat 7. Now the thing is, if you have a chord change in between, in the middle of that 2-bar rhythmic pattern, the second chord is going to come slightly before the beat of 1. So you play, if you look at the tab, you'll see that we go to the B flat 7 or B flat 13 chord, really the 8th note before 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'll just loop those 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if I, just to show you, play the root note, that's going to be on 1 and 2, 1 and 3. So it's going to be like this. So you may notice that the chord, the root note comes on the beat of 1 and the chord comes just before the root note. Now without the root, so this is of course F minor 9 and B flat 13. If you play this tune before, you may think that the chords I'm playing is not the right ones. Well, there's one more in the real book, the regular real book. Bar number 3 and 4 is F minor, both bars. But if you listen to the original recording, they are actually playing F minor and B flat 7. To me, that was new, and it just makes, to me, it makes the tune a lot nicer. I think there is, I think, after a bit in the saxophone solo, they stop playing that B7 and just play F minor for 2 bars. So maybe that's the reason it's written like that in the real book. But for the most part, they do play that B flat 7 chord. Okay, so that was the first line. Let's go to the next one, and it's the same thing from bar 5 to 6. We're changing chords in the middle of that 2-bar rhythm figure. So it's D minor 7 flat 5, moving all the way up here to G7 sharp 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4. next bar is just the 2 bars is C minor again. Okay, next line, bar number 9, same thing here. We have a chord change in the middle of that figure, so it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then bar 11D flat major 7. So that was the 4 bars that are in the key of D flat. Now if you look at bar 13, D minor 7 flat 5, it's the same chord as the D flat major. We just changed the root note. And then you could just play that same figure. I just made a little variation on the end, just so it shouldn't be so static. So what I wrote is this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so whatever you can. I think when I recorded this, I probably played many different variations, at least on those bars. So let me do the whole thing from bar number 1. I'll take it a little bit down in tempo so you can just hear the whole thing without root notes, just the chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Now let's go on to the one with the root notes. And the way to practice this, just take it down in tempo, and you know, as slow as you have to. You can. Okay, and I don't know if I have any better tips. It might be, when you start out, it might be an idea to, instead of trying to hear like the bass note going on 1 and 3, you can see them as kind of one part and see how they move in relation to each other. If you play that, okay, start with the same, and then I'm using the pick and my fingers. If you use the thumb, that's okay, of course. So it's pick and fingers, and then just fingers, and then just pick, and then fingers, okay? So it's really the only time they're playing at the same time is on the beat, first beat of the first bar in this 2 bars pattern. So you can practice it like that. Just go that something that goes, see how they go in relation to each other, and then eventually you'll start hearing kind of this as a separate part, and this is the other one as a separate part. Hope that makes sense. It's just a way to practice it if it's really hard to kind of get the rhythm feel in your hands, right? So take it down in tempo, number 1. Number 2, try to see it as kind of one part instead of 2, and then eventually you'll kind of start to hearing it as 2 parts, and of course they are together as one, of course. It's really 2 parts. But yeah, that's the comp. So for Patreon this week, as usual, we'll look at how to play an improvised solo on this song. It's a pretty simple song. It has 2 basic keys. So if you know those, you know you're pretty good, probably. But we'll also look a little bit deeper into how you can relate to the specific chords, right? There are some nice things that you can do to let your playing reflect the chords that you're playing on. So of course we'll look into that. And also I have written an example solo. This is something that I've talked about quite a lot, that it's a good idea to compose a solo if you're trying to learn a song. You know, just to take it down in your own tempo and figure out what you can do on these different chords, and just write it out and try to make it like a coherent solo. So I've made an example solo that we're gonna study. To kind of see like in real life, or kind of real life, how we can use different concepts of soloing on a song like this. It's not, I mean, it's not going to be very complicated, but there are some really nice some nice concepts that you kind of have as like I don't know, it's not a starting point, but like, yeah, just something to hold on to, right? Some things that you can kind of plan out that you want to do in your soloing, and then of course you have freedom to do them or not, and how to do them, and just do parts and play in and out of them, and yeah, all that stuff that makes playing jazz fun, you know, to improvise and have fun with it. So we'll look at that, and yeah, I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay, so now we'll play the song together. I'm just made like a percussion loop to play on instead of just the metronome clicking. It's a little bit more inspiring, but that's all. It's just that percussion. Well, it's a brush kind of drum kit. So we'll play. Of course, as always, I'm recording 2 guitars, and then I'll take one away, and you be the other player. So it's gonna be melody 2 times, 3 rounds of solo first for you, and then you get to comp 3 rounds, and then it's 2 rounds of melody. And on the end of the melody, we're repeating the last 4 bars 2 extra times, just this part here. And last time. Pretty standard way of ending a song. So that's it. Take it away. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.